All right, everyone. I am here for another video. Since Gen 10 is right around the corner, I thought we might as well talk about our favorite Pokemon games and rank them against each other, just to spark some debate in the community, even though I really don't care for the subjective taste, because, you know, my games are my favorite games and yours are yours. And so remember that. My subjective taste here. Don't get angry over here with your pitchforks. But let's get started with this list. Starting with red and blue, C tier, and yellow, A. I think I don't really need to say much. These games just did not age well, and obviously yellow's better than red and blue. So, I mean, they're cool. They're just not the experiences I would recommend if someone wanted to play Gen 1. Fire red and leaf green are literally right there, which I would say are automatically just going to make it there. Next on this list, crystal and gold and silver. Arguably the best Pokemon region, because why not? This gave us our best remakes after the best remakes were inspired by these games. So, and I definitely believe Gen 2 is better than Gen 1 by a good mile. So, you know, hey, Gen 3, let's start off strong. A tier for Ruby and Sapphire. Why? Because Ruby and Sapphire were amazing games. I have no complaints about them. So IGN might say they have too much water. I believe there's not enough. And right above Ruby and Sapphire is a masterpiece, Emerald, S tier. S tier galore. Not only do you have all the best parts about Ruby and Sapphire, but you also have access to the Battle Frontier. You have access to all the endgame content that comes with it. And like I said, the best of both worlds. You literally get to see why people love Gen 3 as much as they do through Emerald alone. So next we have Fire Red and Leaf Green, which just literally spoke about it. You know, I know this says Game Boy Advance, but it's also on the Switch now too. So hey, 2 for 2, right? Fire Red and Leaf Green are just flat out the best Gen 1 experience I would say that you could get. There's nothing else better than Fire Red and Leaf Green when it comes to playing Gen 1. Especially from the beginning of Kanto. Gen 2, I would definitely say is just better, but if you're looking for starting in Kanto, Gen 1. Fire Red and Leaf Green is the best Gen 1 remake. Coliseum, B tier. Showdown exists, but game is still cool for what it is. Yellow Darkness, didn't play it, but I know it's in the middle of the pack because I've heard from friends. Next, this game is here for a good reason, and it's here for a very good reason. Terrible pacing, a lot of questionable issues, but overall, it was still a good game, just not a great game compared to the ones that was above. I'd honestly say it was somehow worse than the games that came before. And that's why there was so much outcry. Then they dropped this masterpiece of a gem. And we'll put this game right here. Yeah, masterpiece of a gem. This game is so much better that I had to skip a whole tier to prove that this game is significantly better than this one. Why? Because Gen 4 was weird, where the first game sucked so much that the definitive version is the only thing we should be thinking about. Don't even bother looking at the first two games. They don't matter. They don't exist. Plus, you can get both box legendaries in Platinum anyway, so Platinum to me is just flat out better. Just a better experience, way better pacing, all the legendaries you have access to from the first two games. I think it's just a way better experience. And then lastly, the last thing to leave Gen 4, and look, I'll tell you now, where it's placed right now, it's not moving. This is just my number one on this list. Everything else that comes after, it can find its place. This right here, this is the best Pokemon game. This is the best Pokemon game to me. This is the first Pokemon game to me too. And I'm not just saying that it's the best one because it was the first one, but playing all of them and revisiting, Heart Gold to Silver just hits like a cold lemonade on a summer day. It, you know, nostalgic. The amount of stuff that can be done in this game. 16 gym badges, 2 champions, the amount of legendaries to capture. You have the Battle Frontier, the Pokeathon, the Pokemon Olympics. We'll just call it that, because I'm gonna stutter trying to say the name. But like, it's great. It's such a great game, and you can walk around with your Pokemon. I think it's the best iteration of Pokemon following you. It is single-handedly the best iteration. You can say, or let's go. You can say let's go too, But to me, chibi size, this is the best iteration. Next, A tier, Black and White. Amazing games. Some people might hate it because the decks wasn't fully unlocked. I'll tell you, that's your problem. I, on the other hand, this was my third game in the series. Amazing. I loved it. And to this day, I will forever say, I like Black and White story more than I like Black and White's 2 story. It just, I'm really going through the region, but I do like Black and White 2 more than I like Black and White 1. But I really appreciate going through Black and White. Black and White 2, second favorite game in the series. So, you know, all the glaze I got that I gave the previous game, multiply it by 10. Slap some nuts on the table. Glaze this game. This game is amazing. You literally have the Pokemon World Tournament. You have your continuation of the story from the first game. So many things happen in this game. And then the amount of Pokemon that you had starting off, oh man, such an interesting experience going through this game. You know what it feels like to get a Riolu early in the game? That has never happened before. Prior to this, Riolu was only accessible by your 6th gym badge in Gen 4. So having one as early as around the first gym, second gym, was crazy. This game, C tier, for good reason. It's because this game came out, Legends EA came out, they left X and Y on a cliffhanger. So many things, it just felt like the games was leading up to a definitive version coming out, and then the definitive version never came out. So we just sat here waiting for a game that never came out. Replaying these games, they're kind of okay. They could be better. I just feel like they're the weakest link of Gen 6. And the only reason why people rate them so high is because of megas. But Gen 9 literally gives you megas in Legends EA, and more megas than Gen 6. Way more megas. All the megas from Gen 6 and more. So I'd have to rate this game just significantly lower over time. This would be considered for some people S, but I'm putting it A on my list. I just enjoy Emerald more. But I would understand if you want to put this game in S, because Omega Red Alpha Sapphire gave you the Latios event, the Delta episodes. They've revamped everything that the Emerald just didn't do to other people's best. Well, they improved. I want to say that they revamped it, but they improved everything. I do think these are still great games. They're just not S tier for me. Next, B. These games are super hard to replay. Not because they're bad, they just hold your hand way too much. Way too much through the first half. It just really feels like the game starts way too later into the game. You have to get a good amount of badges in before the game really starts. And then I think it does get better. But I'll put this up here because this game is really good. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon should have been the first games. They should have been the first games. It didn't make sense why they went the route they did with releasing these games, but these should have been the first games. I feel like this game is amazing. Am I gonna put it at S? No, because it still has the same issue with the first game. The beginning is atrocious. It's just slow. It's just really slow compared to the other games. Let's go. I'll put it on the same level as. I'll put it in the middle of the pack. It's a B tier game. We thought it was terrible at the time. I still think better. I think it's better than X and Y, but this game, it had its issues, especially running on the Switch 1. There was just points where my Let's Go was just not working properly. It was chugging. Like the performance issues that people were receiving with Scarlet Violet, I was receiving in Let's Go, which was crazy because this is before this game really had severe issues like that. But I would say middle of pack. I love the ride Pokemon in this game. I think this game did ride Pokemon the best at all the games, literally at all the games. And I wish they would choose to go this route for everything else going on. But just like that, I think it's a good game. This would be the second option if I were to say go with the cancel game, if Fire Red and Leaf Green literally didn't exist and isn't also on the Switch. Next is Galar. I know this sounds like I'm being harsh, but Galar had the same issue as X and Y, and it always feels like the first game of the new technology gets hit the hardest because they don't really know what to do yet with it. And Galar falls into the same exact issue as X and Y. The game just felt linear in certain places. Mind you, all Pokemon games are linear, but this is like extra linear. There was just nothing to explore. There was literally nothing to explore. Now with the DLC, they tried to fix it by giving you some legendaries to get, but the whole Reggie thing of finding the footprints was stupid, and I hated that. You might as well just give me Braille. I really would have just taken the Braille over the actual dumbass quest that they gave you with the Reggies. That pissed me off. Like, why am I picking up footsteps for legendaries? Why are the legendaries literally being found in these monotonous ways? Like, it's just so dumb. It's just so dumb. But anyways, this game, going through them, they're fine. Like, they're not games that I would tell you like, oh, you're gonna have the most memorable experience, because not much really super memorable happens here outside of how overcoming this journey. We're just talking about, you know, the rival. Maybe we can rate this higher, but the actual overall game, it has the XOI effect. Now this, I'm gonna try. Look, my game didn't run like crap like the rest of yours. Mine actually did run well. I really enjoyed this. Is actually one of my favorite Pokemon games. It's a simple effect of how my experience went with it. I thought this game was really fun. I really enjoyed it. So I personally believe this is one of the better games when it runs well. I want to put in the benefit of the doubt when it runs well. Though I think the Blueberry Academy arc was kind of, you know, a negative of how they did stuff with getting Pokemon and the whole point system. 100% terrible. Hated that. There are plenty of things that this game just did not do well. But for when it does work and everything falls in line the way it needs to be, I think it's perfect. I don't think I need to say much here. This game sucks. Granted, if you've never played Gen 4 before, I would tell you play this game. If you have the option to play the other Gen 4 games, I would not tell you to play this game. I just think it has Gen 6's problem with the EXP share, but it's the whole game. And you wouldn't know that this game has some of the hardest NPCs if you weren't always over leveled. But because you're always over leveled, you'll never know. And that's the problem with this game. You don't know the NPCs are actually hard in this game till you get to the Elite Four, which is a problem. I'm mashing A through majority of this game. There's no point of even trying other Pokemon because everything you get will just be over level within a good amount of battles. It's kind of annoying because it's just like, dude, what's going on here? Why is it all like this? Why do I feel like I have to keep rotating mons out to at least maybe have somewhat of a non, you know, poo-poo pee-pee experience? And mind you, Pokemon's easy. This by far might just be flat out from, we're just talking about before going to the Elite Four, this might actually be the easiest Pokemon game to go through. Just from Gym 1 to Gym 8. And then automatically goes to one of the hardest Elite Fours you can be in, which I feel like is kind of messed up, because imagine playing this whole game thinking, oh yeah, I'm just chilling, I'm doing this and that, and then you get mollywopped as soon as you get to the Elite Four. This game, man, D tier. Arceus, another great game. That's tier. I feel like I don't have to say too much about this game. You either love it or you hate it. People who didn't like it, it was too different from the original formula, but I loved it, and that's what I really liked about it. It was different from the original formula. You see how many of these games are on this list? Literally in this list, I want to say now that Gale of Darkness, Arceus, Legends, and Coliseum is still like battle-wise still to the original. Those three games play different from everything else on this list. You catch Pokemon, and the presence of the game different from the rest of the list. Legends is still fairly close. Let's Go is still fairly close, but Gale of Darkness and Arceus are just very much different from their usual formula, and that's why I think I rate Arceus that high. Plus all the legendaries, the legendary quests, the event quests, the story, the new forms that were added. I think this game was amazing and hilarious. There was a lot, and the running around in battle and just doing whatever was the funniest thing. And lastly, A tier for ZA. Great game that didn't run well. I think when it runs well, it's cool. DLC is not worth the money. If you were to put it in B tier, I'd understand. If you put it in C tier, I understand. For me, I'll put it in A because I did enjoy going through the game. I had good moments. The game definitely could have been better. But this is my take on my tier list before Gen 10. If you like it, leave a comment. I will be back with another video. Bye.